I'm glad to have you today. I'm called Kugonza Brenda. I'm one of the clinical officer here at Herona Hospital. We are very glad to inform you that we have a well-equipped and stocked eye department. As you can see, we treat all ocular conditions starting from cataract, glaucomas, refractive errors, to mention but a few. However, today we are going to talk about cataracts. Our viewers would like to know what a cataract is. A cataract is an opacification of the natural crystalline lens inside our eyes. Usually and ideally, everyone is born with a lens in each eye. However, due to some disturbances, diseases, as I'm going to mention, you find that it loses its transparency and it becomes opaque. Some of the causes of a cataract could be metabolic disorders. There are some systemic diseases like diabetes. Cataract can also be caused by diseases like hypertension. It can be caused by hereditary predispositions. You can find that in some families, you find the father, other siblings, they have cataracts. Usually there is an inheritance disposition. The third one could be nutrition, poor nutrition. That's why as eye specialists we encourage to eat a balanced diet. A third predisposition may be exposure to ultraviolet rays, like for example welders. It can expose and increase high chances of getting a cataract. Trauma could also be a disposing factor to cataracts, especially trauma to the eyes. We also have usage of some drugs for a long time, especially corticosteroids like dexamethasone. Also, you can find that you can hardly identify the cause of a cataract. There are some idiopathic causes. You get a cataract, but when you cannot really point out the cause. So, what are the signs and symptoms of cataracts? Usually, parents come with symptoms like glare. Glare is intolerance to light or disturbance. Like for example, from car headlights, when they are coming, a patient will tell you that usually when I'm traveling and a car is coming or it's in front of me, I usually get light intolerance. And maybe usually when in bright light, there is also halluce. It comes from splitting of the light spectrum, so a patient will be telling you that I see different colors when I look in light. The third symptom that usually cataract patients complain of is uniocular polycopia. They usually get disturbance like distortion of objects, but it's usually an early sign. Another symptom could be loss of vision. Yes, they do. They explain that the loss of vision is painless, gradual. The objects look misty. So to mention but a few. And the signs on examination, usually you find that the pupil is white, what we call a white pupil. However, there are some other there are some ocular causes of a white pupil, like for example retinoblastomas, persistent hyperplastic primary vitreous, Doxala endophthalmitis. However, when we take a full eye examination, we'll be able to identify a cataract from other causes of a white pupil. When we receive our patient in our eye clinic, we carry out a detailed eye examination, not only to look for one specific thing, like today I'm talking about cataracts, but you can come with one problem, maybe a cataract, and you realize that you may find that even at the back of your eye, you may be having maybe glaucoma. So we carry out a detailed eye examination. We examine the entire eye. So in case of a cataract, when you come in our clinic, we start with visual acuity. We have different visual charts depending on your comfortability. Then also from our judgment, as eye health workers. Usually, the commonest one is the Sinelens chart, where the patient sits at 6 meters from it. We will test one eye per eye. We start from the right eye as the patient covers the left eye with the palm of the hand. So usually with an eye specialist will show you a chart and then also point on the particular optotypes on the chart, such that we can get to know how well and how detailed your eye can see. Visual acuity goes far from reading the letters on the chart. We have other charts like the Amsler's grid that will also evaluate the functionality of your macula. So after examining you and you get to know how good, how detailed you can read, how better or how good you can see, then we go to slit lamp biomass microscopy. So this is our slit lamp. It does a lot of things. It will look at your eye from the external surface where you can see up to the inside, usually what we call the wall of the eye or the fundus. So usually we examine the eye from the eyelids to the conjunctiva, cornea, anterior chamber, in this case up to the lens, which is our specific concern today because we are looking at cataracts. So usually look at the pupil and the cornea. Why? The cornea tells us a lot about the intraocular pressure of the eye, whether there are ulcers, and also it tells us a lot about the density, because that's where light passes, the density of the cataract, and it will give us a clue on how we are going to manage it. We also look at the pupil very well to see whether there is pseudo exfoliation, because if we find there is pseudo exfoliation, then there are high incidences of getting subluxation of the lens, maybe during surgery, things like that. Then we also have to, maybe with oblique illumination, have to find out the density of the cataract, its location. Is it anterior? Is it posterior? Is it polar? Is it cortical? Something like that. With our slit lamp, we can ascertain that. After that, we also have to check for systemic infections or diseases, like for example, random blood sugar in case of people with diabetic mellitus, or those who don't know, they want to find out. But if you come and already we know that you are a diabetic patient, we have to know the level of the blood sugar at that level, and then also at the point if you're going to do surgery. Also hypertension, you take your blood pressure very well. You have to do a tonometry. Tonometry, it means intraocular pressure. The normal value is range between 10 to 21 millimeters of mercury. So this is applanation tonometry. It's what we usually use, but also we have the digital one. We can also use this to measure your eye pressures, especially for patients who are 45 years and above. It's a must. For every usual eye checkup, we have to take you to your eye pressures, ascertain that. So from slit lamp biomicroscopy, we go to fundoscopy. We really wish and are glad to tell you that we have to look at the back of your eye. Why? Because if you have problems maybe with your optic nerve, even after surgery, you may not get that good vision you might have expected, or you might have wanted to get from cataract surgery. So usually after all the eye examinations I've told you, we have to look at the back of your eye with our 930 using a slit lamp or with our thermoscope. We can use either of them, and then we tell you so that you know the prognosis before we can go ahead to do surgery on your eye. So after doing our fundoscopy, tonometry, we have to do biometry. This instrument is called an IOL Master. It is very good. We'll get to know the axial length of your eye, the curvature the center of curvature of your eye, taking our keratometry readings, we feed them into the biometry, and then we shall come to find out exactly what type, what size of the intraocular lens will you put in your eyes such that you get better vision after surgery. So when I'm talking about an intraocular lens, remember I told you that a cataract is an opacification of the natural crystalline lens. So during cataract surgery, we remove that opacified natural lens. After surgery, you have to introduce another glass-like circular structure called an intraocular lens into your eye. However, we are very, very careful, and we want to make sure that after surgery you get better vision. So we calculate it very well to fit your eye, to fit your individual eye after surgery. So we use this machine, we do biometry, we calculate, we get to know that each individual eye will need this intraocular lens. We don't just put, to ensure that you get good surgery. So so you may be there asking that what is really done during surgery. So I'm going to summarize the steps of surgery, because usually our patients get scared. They usually tell you that a doctor will get out your eye, then we'll put it on a table, then we'll start to suture it. Afterwards they put it back. Some people tell you that usually they just get eyes, they remove your eye, they put an eye gotten from a sheep, from a goat. All those ones are not true. They are not really true, because when you come here at Herona, you'll really get a good eye services. So in summary, these are the steps, or this is what we do during cataract surgery. So when you come, we really, after checking your eye, we admit you. That is number one. We admit you. We clean your eye with Providone iodine. Providone iodine inside and outside. So we make you to lie on a bed, and it's like an examination bed in our hospital. So you look up. That's after marking the eye we are going to do surgery on. That's if you have a uniocular cataract, if the cataract is in one eye, or if it is in both eyes, we mark them. Then we have to anesthetize the eye. So usually they tell you that they will pierce your eye when you're feeling, they will pierce your eye when you're feeling pain. That's not true. We give peribulbar injections or retrobulbar injections, even subtenon, depending on the indications and the contraindications per given patient. So we use lignocaine, Cubicane, and then small amounts of adrenaline to prevent bleeding during surgery. So this is done by ophthalmologists. Ophthalmologists are medical officers who are trained very well in eye surgeries. The first thing is that they pass a bridal suture into that identified eye with a cataract as you're looking down, because they usually tell you what to do. You don't need to fear. So after passing a bridal suture into your eye, they have to make a conjunctival flap using a blade knife. So after that, they have to what? They give you homeostasis using maybe a diathermy or a cautery, so to prevent bleeding. So after that, they will make a side port or a tunnel. After doing that, then they will get access into the anterior chamber. So the next is hydrodissection. After hydrodissection, with some needle aspiration, they'll have to remove the contents. So they will remove the nucleus and the cortex, obviously, and then they'll put a viscoelastic material. Afterwards, they will deliver the cortex and the nucleus. Because you remember initially I told you a cataract, there is opacification of the natural crystalline lens. So afterwards they remove it, they remove all the contents, they will again put back the wound, and that's all. They would have removed the cataract. So there are very many surgical skills. There is what we call 6, that is small incision cataract incision surgery, and then there is what we call focal emulsification, that is a new development, and then extracapsular cataract extraction. That one they used to use it in old years, but of recently 6 plus PCIOL is the most commonly used small incision cataract surgery, where they insert a posterior capsule intraocular lens. But however, all these ones are used depending on the indications and the contraindications per patient. Once again, I'm glad to having you. So in a nutshell, as I'm winding up, in cataract surgery, there are various surgical skills, like I told you. We have 6 small incision cataract surgery. We have extracapsular cataract extraction, what we abbreviate as ECCE. We also have focal emulsification. So you would ask, why is it that you may have to do this and leave this? We may not go into that, but as you come to Herona Hospital, we shall explain everything. Thank you for listening and hope to have you next time. Bye.